With a strong prejudice against anything he might say, she began to read his account as what happened at Netherfield. She read with an eagerness which hardly left her power of comprehension, and from impatience of knowing what the next sentence would bring.
It's interesting that Jane uses the word prejudice because that's the whole premise of the entire book. And she's judging Darcy on his letter even before she starts reading it. And she has no basis on what he's gonna say in his letter.
Mr. Darcy's letter, she was in a fair way of soon knowing it by heart. She studied every sentence, and her feelings towards the writer were at times very different.
So when Elizabeth is reflecting on the letter from Mr. Darcy, she has a lot of feelings. Indignation over how he addressed her, gratitude, respect. She's angry with herself for making accusations. It's the turning point in the book because she begins to start feeling like maybe she was wrong about Mr. Darcy, maybe she likes him, who knows?
But there was still something lurking behind, where prudence forbade disclosure. She dared not relate the other half of Mr. Darcy's letter, nor explain to her sister how sincerely he had been valued by his friend.
Elizabeth didn't want to tell Jane about the other half of the letter because it would reveal that Darcy had neglected to tell Mr. Bingley that Jane was in London.
She was sorry that Mr. Darcy should have delivered his sentiments in a manner so little suited to recommend them, but still more was she grieved for the unhappiness which her sister's refusal must have given him.
Despite being rude to her family, Jane pities Mr. Darcy after Elizabeth rejected him because she recognized the courage it must have taken for him to propose to her.
He looked surprised, displeased, alarmed, but with a moment's recollection and a returning smile, he replied that he had formerly seen them often, and after observing that he was a very gentlemanlike man, he asked her how she had liked him.
This is a point in the novel where Elizabeth approaches Wickham and sort of subtly hints that she knows about him and Mr. Darcy in their past, and it's kind of interesting because he was caught super off guard, and it's especially noted in this quote, and then it says that he regains his composure, which is really interesting because he didn't want Elizabeth to know that she had sort of gotten under his skin.